so that we keep this for our reference. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Always a pleasure hosting you all under the IPN, ages of IPN, if I may say, or under the IPN banner. This support or anything which we are experimenting or we keep attempting at IPN is never possible without your support. So firstly, my sincere thanks to each one of you and lending me the support, or if I may say, believing in us for that matter. Thank you. We are here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, today we have gathered here for a very specific purpose. So I muted all of you right now. So obviously, as we go along, I'll certainly enable you the way we usually do it. We'll enable you to unmute yourself. Sarabjiti also is there. Dr. Shushma is there. All of my known, lot of my known faces are here, if I may say. So thank you very much. So very specific purpose today, ladies and gentlemen, and that takes its root from our national education policy document. I have two esteemed guests, so I will certainly introduce them to you as we go along. But the larger interest of this conversation is I'll quickly outline that we are forging an association with a global association or a global partnership with a body by the name CredEd. Obviously, we'll share a lot of details around them with you as we go along. But CredEd is based out in Florida in the US largely. They have been working in the teacher empowerment space for a long period of time. And more importantly, the person who is leading this entire initiative and her team, Trina Angelone, she's with us right away, in fact, and I will request Trina, if you can quickly say a quick hi to all of us, and then obviously I will keep
Good morning from Florida and good evening to all of you. I'm delighted to be here and look forward to sharing some more about what we're doing and some of the work we'll be able to do together. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for having us today.
Yeah, so that's Trina, and she is our guest and in fact our partner association CEO of CredEd. Largely she's with us. Trina, if I may very briefly share with you about Trina, given we've been interacting for the past 60 odd days, as I mentioned, one thing which I can say with a surety about Trina is what a wealth of knowledge she has accumulated over the period of 35 odd years her career ranges in the US. Throughout, she's worked in the school domain, from being obviously the principal, the head, and in the tech space as well in the US. She actually sold 3 of her ventures, which she did in the education space in the US. She eventually sold it to the larger corporations in the US. She has worked on concepts like virtual schools in the US at a very big level. So in India, the concept of virtual schooling is so new to us, right? We possibly 90 days ago, we were not even knowing what is a virtual school. At least I was not aware of what is virtual school for that matter. So she wears a lot of hats, if I may say, but for the want of a better expression, if I can say, she is a thought leader from the education industry, and we all from the IPN fraternity, I'm right now speaking on behalf of everyone, welcome you to this discussion or a partnership, and we are very, very glad to have you with us, Trina. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Just very briefly to add to that information, I was going to say my white hair is because of 35 years in educational leadership. The last 20 years I've been doing online education. So I currently run and operate online education programs in 49 countries. And we have thousands and thousands of students and organizations in the K through 12 space. We also have college partnership programs and so on. And then this latest opportunity is taking all of those years of experience on online education, online curriculum development, planning and organization for administrators in online opportunities, and really looking at how do we elevate the conversation around teaching and elevate the conversation around leading schools in this new era. Because even though people like myself were out there doing online education for 10, 15, 20 years, it's now that everybody has to have a digital plan. Everybody has to have a strategic plan that involves online education and involves preparing teachers and preparing administrators to lead in this new environment. And so what we'll talk about today is CredEd, and CredEd focuses specifically on upskilling the workforce for leading in this new generation.
Yeah, and as I said, these are few glimpses of what we'll unfold today largely. And at the same time, I would also like to welcome Ashley from Vancouver. So Trina is joining us from Florida, which, if I'm not wrong, is in Miami, right? It's Miami is the state largely, right? Right?
Yep.
Miami,
Florida.
yes, Miami. And yes, and Ashley is from Vancouver, Canada. Ashley, welcome to this conversation. Good to have you with us as well.
Thank you.
If you can say a quick hi so that everyone can see you. Yes, you are here. Fantastic.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Fantastic. So there are now narrowing it down our discussion for today, which is obviously our association with CredEd, which formally gets announced today after this conversation. Now I will hand it over to Trina largely to run us through that what have we brought to you all under this partnership, number one. Obviously, and I made a very brief mention earlier in my note, which I had shared on the IPN, which is that there is a very special partnership which Trina and her team is leading with Wozniak Group, which is Steve Wozniak, who's a co-founder of obviously Apple Incorporation. So they are doing a very special course around coding. And please understand that that is not coding for kids. That is actually coding for educators. So there I would like to make this as a distinction that I have seen a lot of programs right now which are surfacing, which is around teaching coding to our kids. However, I personally feel it's about enabling or empowering our teachers to be the next coding, or I would say empowering our classrooms to be teachers of coding, if I may say, right? So that's the way I want to now hand it over to Trina and possibly take us through the CredEd journey so far and what all CredEd through this partnership of ours brings to our educators back here in India in terms of the repository of information or courses they have. Over to you, Trina.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I will stay at a very high level because then anyone who wants to can meet with you and myself and have some follow-up information. So what's my time on this? Bravo, what's my time? Because you know I can talk about this all day and nobody wants to listen to it all night.
So yeah, good you brought that up. Good you brought that up. But what I'll do is I will quickly outline this in a way that after your, say a quick 10, 15 or minute largely, I would say, we will dive into more of a Q&A. So I would, that's the ideal format which has always worked in IPN, that we'll dive into your Q&A with leaders asking us questions, I would say, with you largely. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. All right, so then let me share my screen if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's populating now. It's there.
Okay, so welcome to the world of CredEd. CredEd is focused on upskilling the education workforce, and it's about the mobility of the education workforce. And those are two very, very important factors. There's a lot of detail in the website, but upskilling is something that you know. I don't need to tell you why we need to upskill educators. We're now in a new era. The education of going to college and taking some classes, pencil, paper, and so on, it's no longer enough. We have to train our teachers and train our administrators how to lead in the era of online education, blended learning, and so on. What we've got here is the second factor, though, is the mobility factor. Up until now, teachers have pretty much come out of college and got a job, and then they stayed there, and they stayed for a long time, and didn't really have to think about moving. But in today's work climate, we will see the need for people to move. And why? Because there are so many new opportunities for teachers to teach online. They're going to need to be able to be credentialed or accredited to be able to work in many, many situations, not just in the brick and mortar school. And so one example would be there are many international online companies that are doing online education in India, and those companies are using American teachers or Canadian teachers and so on. If we can get our Indian teachers credentialed, which is one of the benefits that Gaurava saw in this, is if we can get our Indian teachers credentialed, they can take that extra work. You don't need to import educators, you just credential your own educators, and that brings a big value to your teachers because they're going to be able to be eligible for those jobs that are external jobs. So those are some of the things that we look at, and we can talk more about that in a minute. So on the website, you'll see it's called globalcreded.com, and Gaurava will send out the links, I'm sure, to everybody for this. But it is about upskilling and mobility, and then looking at how you develop your career as an educator. It's about professional development and training. It's about adding micro credentials, such as being a coding teacher, such as the macro credentials, being a STEM teacher. So taking a series or multiple shorter credentials and getting some of those macro credentials, and then aligning those with certificates and certification pathways so that your teachers are meeting those standards, not only for those, the Ministry of Education standards, but also international or globally recognized standards. And then one of the nice things about it as well is there's actually a CredEd Connect. So there's a community inside of the CredEd membership. So for example, if IPN decided that they would do some lesson planning, some sharing, some best practices and so on for educators, and ask the educators to demonstrate what they're learning, all of that is built in inside the platform. And then the final piece of it is the educators actually get a professional portfolio, a digital portfolio. And I'm going to show you a sample of one of those. So that digital portfolio is really important. Instead of keeping all of my documents in a file, my transcripts, my degree, my certificates, my continuing education certifications, all of those things in a hard copy file, I now have a digital portfolio. That means that I can print it out, and it's beautiful, very professional. I can hit a button and share it, send that link out to my colleagues or to my boss or to whoever I need as an educator. It also means that you as administrators can see a dashboard. You log in and you see all of your teachers and you have all of their credentials in one place. You can run reports on those credentials, and you can also then assign courses. So if teachers need, need to take classroom management or how to code or how to any of these different, teaching reading online using Google classrooms, all of these kinds of classes, you can actually say, I want my teachers to take these classes because that's where my school is weak. And so you as the administrator have an opportunity to assign those classes, and then you monitor the progress because you get the logins from Gaurava. The other nice thing is that all of this is approved by accrediting agencies. So there are lots of people out there offering professional development, and there are many people out there offering coding for kids, but they're not approved or endorsed by accrediting agencies internationally. And I think that's a really important piece. You can read all those details yourselves. For the networks, you can see that there are many, there are testimonials here of large networks who have used us. The NCPSA is the international, it's the National Council for Private School Accreditation in the United States. They do have other schools that globally as well, even though it's called national. Then if I go here to the About Us, you will see the leadership team. This is our bios. You'll see the experience and all of these PhDs and people that have run large networks of thousands of schools, and the work that they do for us on a daily basis. I'm going to log in, and of course you would get your login, make sure that this is working with me, and I'm going to log in as a sample teacher. So this is Terry Teacher, and Terry is going to sign in here. I'm going to use this for a moment and show you. Okay, can you all see? Will we go, Gaurava? Yeah, okay. So this is logging in to see my courses. These are the courses that Terry, the teacher, has enrolled in. Google Classroom, how to handle assignments when you're in Google Classroom, and also an introduction to web development. Now, if, for example, I want to learn about online learning, there are 168, you can see here, courses already in here. So if your school or your network wants to prepare teachers for teaching online, there are on-demand classes, asynchronous learning. You can select which of these you want them to do, and these are all already in the system. You know, how to get free tools for working with literacy with elementary children, 10 Google search tips to help you find information, 100 free tech tools, and it takes you through using all of these. 10 web tools that will help your students learn how to code, 3 ways to increase creativity in any classroom, a virtual history tip to the Smithsonian. You know, administrators, stay on track with a Google Calendar if you don't already know how to use one with all the details. So depending on the skill level, there are classes for every skill level built in here. If I want to do something on reading, there are 62 classes already built in. So if you have a team of new young teachers or older teachers that need to learn how to collaborate on projects for elementary students, are you seeing signs of dyslexia in students? Digital storytelling using an iPad. There are many, many classes in here that are already there. You know what your school needs. You know what your teachers need. And so our team will help you with Gaurava design a plan. Which courses are best for your school? But you have access to all of them. And there's about 1,500 courses in here already that you're able to look at. So the next thing the teacher sees is they see the classes they've already selected or been appointed to take. Then the staff recommends new courses every month. These are the recommended courses for teachers that we see, you know, a lot of people are enjoying and that we'd like them to go into. So things like handling assignments. How do I handle assignments coming in on Google Classroom? Cybersecurity, that's a great one as things go online. Teaching your students to stay safe in an online environment outside of the school, because many times students are really safe inside the school networks, but they don't think about the fact that there are other things going on in the online outside of school. So, you know, teaching your students how to stay safe, I always recommend that one. Flipping your classroom with videos and live streaming. You know, how do we do these things when we're going into blended learning? So lots of great information, lots of great courses in here. They're short courses. So those courses are actually things that a teacher can do. You can do them in a staff meeting online, just like this. We could all watch and participate and have a conversation. Or you can say, let's schedule, everybody's going to do this at a certain time. Or the teachers can do them any time of day or night as long as they finish them and you see the reports. So how you use it is totally up to you as the administrator. But even you have to do some work. So we've recommended courses for the administrators. And these are, you know, how do you provide equity? Some free tools for teachers to learn how to communicate online. 7 steps to becoming digital citizens. 10 creative ways to spice up your staff meetings online. So there's plenty of great ideas and courses out there for administrators as well. These are kind of the exciting ones. Gaurava was talking about coding. And so this is the group that we've got coming in. These are the courses that you can see. Terry Teacher started one class, but things like, you know, the basics, introductions to cybersecurity, coding from scratch, databases, you know, some getting into some in-depth courses that are normally a lot more expensive, but, you know, Gaurava works a good deal here and has managed to get some opportunities that are not public and we're not making public as we go through this for the organization based around, you know, some of that. So let me take you into, so that's the courses and the real, really great professional development. But one of the benefits is also for the teachers is a portfolio. So the teacher is actually able to build up, give a little of their background, their personal history. They can upload if they have a Ministry of Education approval or a state certificate. They also have the opportunity to earn international certificates and credits. So if I look at this, for example, this is a professional teaching certificate from the US. They've got with the state that it was awarded in, the endorsements and subjects, the professional level, the level they're approved to teach. And so it's an active status, but the teachers can then choose to add, and we would set a plan. If your school wants to get an international certification from NCPSA or from Schools International or the Association of Internationals, we've got many of these accrediting agencies working with us. And so your schools can actually, you can choose a path for your schools that says, in addition to the Ministry of Education, I want to be able to have an international certificate program for my educators, which is a real value add for your teachers as well. It also helps you create value for your school, because I've been a private school educator for many years, and we're always trying to say why our schools are valuable. And in the public school system, or the state school system, we're always trying to say, how can I be competitive? So we add new curriculum for students, we add supports for students, we add international programs like advanced placement or the Cambridge program or the IB program. But for educators, we never think about adding international programs for our educators and certification programs, because that improves and increases the value not only for the educator, but for our schools. We benefit as educational leaders when our faculty are better trained and better qualified. It will attract new students as well as give the teachers the benefit. So they can put their employment history in, and I know I'm nearing my 10 minutes, so give me another minute, Gaurav. They can put their degrees and their sample, all of that, samples of recommendations or professional if they get a commendation or a great evaluation from you, and then it all builds a resume. And so the teacher then has this great portfolio that you as the administrator actually then can go in on the dashboard and you can actually see. And then as I'll come out of this one, I log out from here and I'll log in as myself, and you'll see the difference here. If I go in, here we go. Okay, did it catch up? We can see the thing again, yeah? So you can see I'm listed, it looks the same for me as an administrator. I'm in different classes, but I see the same view. However, when I go into my dashboard, you can see I've got more in my dashboard. What I've got is my organization. The teachers don't see this, but I can actually go in and see any notifications. I can see who just joined. You see Gaurava signed up to take some classes. You can see my organizations, and then I can actually create a course. So if I have a course, or if you as an educational leader or you as IPN want to add something that is local, a specific class you want your teachers to participate in, and it's information you want to add to the program, you get the access to the whole program as an administrator to be able to add something or fine tune it yourselves to make it something local as well. Because we're global, we're international, and sometimes you say, you know, this is great, but I really like this local thing and I want to add it in, and I want you to assess it and award credit for it. I want my people to receive credit for doing this, and we will add it to the standards and put that into the process. And I think I will stop sharing. And Gaurava, I think that's as high level as I can go in 10 minutes.
No, this was, I think that's the way it should be, very, very crisp and precise. And more than that, if I tell you, which will very well resonate with my leaders here, that a lot of us are actually using MS Teams, Google Classrooms, and however, our educators are not really able to unravel, if I may say, how are the assessment piece going to work on that. So I think your course is there, which is, I think they are very well equipped with respect to the topicality or the sort of challenges which we are facing here will help them. So right. I think the good part is there's a plethora of them to choose from. They are not those only handful of it, and more importantly, because it's a specific platform, it is only for educators. So I don't have to go and search randomly from any platform, right? I know that this will only pull out courses relevant to a school educator of national or international relevance. Because see, today, because of the entire COVID thing, Trina, what has happened is by default, our educators are now have to use all these tools. So one was earlier we had an option of possibly skipping this process. Now we by default have to use all these processes. So having said this, it's a little something which has been thrust upon us, but nevertheless, since there's an opportunity there, I personally feel we'll have to now go a step ahead and lead the curve, or rather than being reactive in our approach. So we can no longer stay reactive, we have to become proactive in our approach now. So at that way, I think your platform of CredEd should be like one of the things they can bookmark and they can start using for their professional development. I open the house for a Q&A because, as I said, there will be a few questions for all of us to take up. And if I can have a quick show of hand, I will then allow you to ask the question, please. Yes, Pramodji, over to you, unmuting you now. Yeah.
It's very good. Trina, my question to you, like what you have shown to me, it looks like that the teacher how to manage the class. Teacher can store everything there on that particular platform only. When it comes to he can teach, content can be stored, content can be search, content can be all R&D can be done. When it comes to evaluation system with the students, how it can be performed?
Oh, so this is not the platform for teachers to teach students. This is the platform for teachers to be the students themselves. Yeah. This is where we train the teachers, and we teach the teachers and the administrators and so on. And when they've learned how to do this, if the teachers want to go into the platform then for students, then we have a separate platform where we can set up whole classrooms. So for example, a teacher could learn how to use Google Classrooms here, or could learn how to use Microsoft Teams here, learn how to use Zoom Classroom here. Once they've done that, the teacher will earn their certificate, then they'll be able to go in and practice and use it in the classroom. Now, we do have a totally separate organization where we could set up full classrooms and full schools. That's the online school for K through 12 programs. That's a totally separate platform.
Right. Thank you so much. And my second question is how to go for the assessment, even for the teachers.
Oh, so in this, when they take the course, I didn't want to go into it, but when you take the course, there is video, there is interaction, and then the teacher actually has to do an assessment. I should have shown you mine, because when we go into, I failed a course last week because I deliberately went through and I wrote, total rubbish on the thing just to see how it would grade me. And the team that does the grading actually sent back, this is an inadequate answer, so sorry, but you failed. And so it is automatically graded. There is a live instructor that also works with the teachers. And then once a month, there is a live class meeting that any teacher can join. And it's like this, it's like in Zoom, we have Meet the Experts and an expert bar, and they get to join. Now, in the classes that are coding classes, they actually get to meet with experts in the world of coding. And that's kind of it. You'll see another announcement coming next week from us on that. But there's some exciting things there where they actually get to practice and go talk to some top coders. I know nothing about coding, I have to be honest and say. I know how to use systems and set up online schools and do the educator training piece, but I'm not a programmer. And so, the conversations when someone really gets into it and moves to a higher level in programming, we have some really top experts working with our teachers. Because you can't expect to have coding for every child if you don't have teachers that know how to teach this. And so we've got a big gap between our classrooms. And this is globally, this is not just India, this is everywhere. I was on a group yesterday, even in the US. I had the National Catholic Educator Association yesterday. And, we had hundreds of people. And, they said, well, how do we do coding when we've nobody that can teach it? We can't just say everybody's going to code. That takes time. And even setting up, from 4 or 5 years of age through to age 10 when they begin these coding classes. You have to prepare the mind to want to be able to do this kind of activity. You can't just drop it in at a 10-year-old or 12-year-old. So even our early elementary teachers need to understand this. And so there's a lot of work to be done in preparing and for that. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
3 questions which are lined up: Miss Poonam Kochetti, then Buddha World School, and Miss Poonam Singhal. Yeah, over to you, Poonam ji. Poonam Kochetti.
Yeah, hello, good evening, Gaurav and all the IPN principals who've joined in. And Trina, I missed the first 10 minutes. So if you've already sort of dealt with what I'm going to ask, and that is what is the cost for doing the certification and your professional development courses?
Well, our normal cost has been significantly reduced because of Gaurav and what he's doing with the organization. So he's got some codes that he'll be able to give out to do some discounts.
I'll help that. I think, so what we have done, Poonam ji, is because this is something we are bringing to IPN largely. So the pricing has brought in from 14.99, which is 14.99 USD, which is not much to be honest with you, to 9.99 USD, which is 700 rupees largely, 750 rupees in fact in India. So I think that's very well priced. So I mean, for sure, if I can be a little outlandish here, in India, we are very price sensitive guys. See, we directly get into the price discussion without a doubt, absolutely about it. And I'm happy about it.
Gaurav, the reason I asked this was that there are international certifications which are currently being provided free of cost. My school is enrolled for one such, where they have 1,500 courses and my teachers are doing it free of cost. So that's the reason I wanted to know if there was any cost reduction.
I would not even say, I think it's a best question. I'll tell you why. Because that's clears the ambiguity part of it, because that clears the air largely. So thank you very much. So that's the pricing we have got for IPN members right now. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. And so, Gaurav, there are lots of people out there offering professional development. But they're not offering a path to a teacher certification credential. They're giving CEUs or certificates for completing the courses, but they're not getting a real teacher credential that's approved by an accrediting agency. They're also not giving the teachers a portfolio. And you probably, as an administrator, don't have the dashboard to log in and see and print and have all of that aligned with the standards. And the other benefit of it is they're also not bringing best practices or the people who are at the top of their game coming in as meet the experts. So you're not getting the opportunity for these live sessions as well. So, for example, in the coding area, I know there's no one in the world that is partnered with the group we're partnered with. You don't have Steve Wozniak's team showing up every day for teachers. You don't have the some of these, you'll see the list of names when Gaurav puts it out, but we have the world's best, the leaders involved in this new upskilling project. And it's very exciting. You can get other professional development for free or for cheap. You can Google it, but it's not the certification of educators program.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, at the same time, I think that was a very pertinent question, Poonam ji, and I would like to outline this on behalf of the IPN fraternity, that the pricing especially for the IPN members, has been brought down from 14.99 to 9.99, which is 700 rupees per participant. And I think it is not for per course, it is for the entire dashboard. It is not for just a particular course. It is for the complete platform, right, Prina? Is that the right way of saying it? That's
correct. The other big thing is even the special coding classes that are in there from Wozniak. Those, that's a $15,000 US program that is being brought in at ridiculous opportunity just because he's giving back to education as part of this. And you're not going to find those. So there's all kinds of built-in benefits. And I'm hoping, Gaurav, you're able to share a lot of this information.
Yeah, we'll do that as we go along, Trina. So this is largely Mark's. I think there's a good question on the chat window which comes for us. Would you mind running us through the courses which are available, Trina? I think you had the list. Someone puts that as a good question, which is Amit. Can we have the syllabus or the courses available example? So I think we dive into that. But before we go there, I'll take up the question of Miss Poonam Singhal. Ma'am, if you can ask your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what is going to be the duration of this course? How long is this course going to be and what time? I mean, because teachers are also doing classes in the morning hours. So what is going to be the duration? And yes, the other question I wanted to ask is what are the programs that you're offering so that my teachers would have a ready reckoner as to what is it that they can pick and choose? So
Correct.
two questions.
Two questions, yes, good questions.
Yeah, so I think, Gaurav, the classes, we have a number of catalogs. There are about, let's say, 1,500 from one and 1,000 from, we have about 2,500 courses already built in. You have access to 2,500 full classes. So that's too much for anybody. There are reading classes, there are elementary classes, there are middle school classes, there are high school focused, there are mathematics focused, there are programming and coding focused, there are arts, music, theater focused classes. So, you know, each school will have a plan for what they want, but your teachers have access to everything. On the timing of the classes, you know, you can decide, I think that's one of the things you said at the beginning was, you decide, do you want this class to run as a synchronous class with all of your teachers in it together? So you determine the start and the end date, or you can just say, it's going to run asynchronously. My teachers have access for the whole year. My teachers can begin today, and my teachers can stay in it all year, and they can access and do 100 courses if they want to improve their personal learning. So you can say the beginning is next week, and we're going to leave it open, and that way it just runs all year for everybody, or it will be, we will open it up, and at that point, the schools and the teachers will decide we're going to do it for a month, you know, so that's part of the program. When they sign in, I just saw a question pop up on the screen. When they sign in, they get access to everything. They get the portfolio, they get the CredEd Connect, they get all of those courses. So even though you may just assign one course for your school, the teachers may decide, I want to learn a lot while I'm in here, and they can go explore and they can take as many courses as they like.
Price for that remains the same? I mean, what you just said, or is it per course costs you that much?
No, the whole portfolio, the platform, and the access to everything is that same price. There are premium courses where someone who wants to actually join a cohort with a live instructor, and maybe people from, maybe it's limited to 20 people or something, and they may have to pay extra if they choose to go do the premium courses, but they only run so often, and those are live running on, you know, with a guest lecturer. So those are different, but even those we have capped at a fairly low price inside for the teachers. But that would be something that that they can do, you know, that would be a choice. You still have access to thousands of courses and the portfolio and the community for the original price. Now and again, we run some premiums, but because we're paying a guest lecturer, we have to cover the cost of that.
Thanks very much.
Piyush Kumar Sharma, your question, please.
Yeah, okay. Greetings to everyone. I just had a question that our school has 120 teachers. So do we really need to enroll everyone, or we can enroll a few teachers, 3 or 4 teachers, or is there a minimum requirement from a school?
Completely, you as an individual can buy a program. This is not on a lot basis. This is individual basis, right?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? We can quickly take those up. However, as I said, yeah.
Gaurav, if I might just jump in as well, and thank you again, everyone, for joining. I saw a question that popped up specifically asking about platforms for students. So I'll just reiterate what Trina had mentioned at the beginning of the call, that we absolutely do have platforms that are specifically for students, and we will be able to help students. It is just a separate platform. So this is specifically for teachers, and we're very happy to set up another call with everybody here and through IPN, where we can actually discuss how to get your students involved and the entire platform with the plethora of K through 12 courses that we do have for students. So we have both, but today is just about the teachers.
Thank you, Ashley, for clarifying. So I'll give you the quick roadmap, ladies and gentlemen. What are we going to do with this? So today marks the opening of this association, largely bringing Trina and her team in front of all of us, largely, so that we get the credibility or the understanding piece from the horse's mouth, number one. Okay. There are, as Trina mentioned, I'm just for your benefit trying to make this a very, very clear observation that the platform, the complete platform usage, not a particular course charge, is $9.99 USD, okay, which is that there are 1,500 or whatever number of courses are there. But at the same time, let me make a quick demarcation that if there is a premium course which is coming up, which may be faculty driven or maybe driven by an expert, it has a separate charge altogether, but then obviously that is indicated to you very, very out in front of that platform largely. But right now, the usage of platform, creating your portfolio on the platform and getting all the free resources available, which are 1,500 or please course, completely comes at IPN pricing of $9.99, which is 700 odd rupees. That's what it is right now. Okay. Since we have Trina with us as well here today, Trina, we have largely, in fact, we would like to, as you were speaking, I was gathering few points. One of the points which I really want you to take up is that how can we set up a virtual school? So example, what are the key tenets of a virtual school while we talk about? Because by default, what we can see in India right now is that we are getting new dates for school opening. It was September sometime now. Now there's a little more unsurety, if I may say, but then the idea is that how do we get into a little understanding of how to run a virtual school? So I'm proposing, and this is coming from, you don't have to answer me right away. What I want from you is that if we can get a session organized with you being the expert, and I will invite my leaders to be a part of that session, I think that will be a great takeaway for them, all of them to start with.
Oh, happy to do that. Just let me know when, and I'm happy to do that. Yes.
Sure, sounds good. So that's where I think we took up more or less all the questions. We will send all this literature, ladies and gentlemen, with URLs to you directly. IPN is only, if I may say, the facilitator part of this organization. You will directly now engage with CredEd as an organization for that matter. Obviously, we'll get you the coupon. We'll get you the coupon of which will enable us to get that discount from a 14.99 to a 9.99 to Indian members or IPN members largely. So I think which Ashley and her team are putting together, and they will come to us by later tonight or tomorrow latest. And then we'll share that to you over a complete comprehensive email. And please go ahead with that way. And any query which you have, obviously we'll take it up. My team is there. I will also put up a team with Trina's team will also come along. And then anything more than this today, maybe certain queries may not have been answered, but if you have still the queries, we'll be happy to take up them, right? Sounds good, right? So, and I thank you, Deepak. Thank you. I saw Deepak clapping for me, and thank you very much, Umaji. Thank you for everyone who joined in. Thank you, Pramodji. Thank you, all my familiar faces, if I may say. Thank you, Poonamji, as well. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. The idea behind is at IPN and whatever we try to do, the logic is to enable IPN members to have all the possibilities ahead of them. You should be knowing everything which is available in the market at the best of the best. That is our aim. I always say this, and I'll repeat myself at the cost of repeating. I take horse to the water. I don't make it drink. That's the choice you have to make. for that matter, right? So that's where I am largely. Thank you very much, Trina. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, everyone, for joining it. I hope to see you all soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you so much.
you.